May 17th, 2009. Further research on Himiko. According to legend, Himiko, the first queen of Japan, was a powerful sorceress who ruled her empire through dark magic, spreading death and destruction by the mere touch of her hand. She was only stopped by a single twist of fate. An army of her own generals bound and dragged Himiko to an uninhabitable island in the middle of the treacherous Devil's Sea. There she remains, entombed beneath the mountains. I've found a speck on an old map that no one else has, and she's there, waiting to be unleashed. I have to get there first, even if it means doing the last thing I'd ever want to do, leaving my Lara behind.
When Howard Carter and Lord Carnarvon broke into Tutankhamun's tomb, they shed light on a treasure trove that had lain in darkness for more than 3,000 years. Thoughts of a curse lay far from their minds. For them, it was a moment they would cherish forever. What they had discovered was the first part of the tomb, the antechamber. It held everything a pharaoh might need in the afterlife. Just as Carter was breaking down the wall, a snake stole into his house and killed his pet bird. It was a chilling omen. In ancient Egypt, a pharaoh was given a headdress adorned with a snake, which defended its master by spitting in his enemy's eye. Had the curse of Tutankhamun claimed its first victim? The incident fueled press speculation that the archaeologists had discovered something sinister in the tomb, but had kept it secret. Newspaper reports claimed that a tablet had been found inscribed with a deadly curse. Supposedly, it read, "Death will slay with his wings whoever disturbs the peace of the pharaoh." The tablet was never found. The press suggested that the ancient Egyptians had harnessed some mystical force to guard the tomb and its treasures. Undaunted, they turned their attention to an adjacent wall, symbolically guarded by two black and gold sentinels. Perhaps this concealed the body of a pharaoh who had died mysteriously more than 3,000 years before. Once again, Carnarvon was by Carter's side when the work began. This time, their efforts were rewarded with the glint of gold. As the weeks progressed, the truth became clear. At last, they had found the burial chamber, and next to it was the treasury. Inside lay even more priceless treasures, a hint that they must now be close to the pharaoh's mummy. Finally, they began opening the shrines in search of the mummy itself. 3 golden caskets, one inside the other, contained 3 coffins. The last was 300 pounds of solid gold. When they opened this final coffin, the mummy of Tutankhamun was revealed, protected by a fabulous golden mask. But by the time Carter came face to face with the pharaoh, he was on his own, and Lord Carnarvon was dead. 10 days after the opening of the tomb, a mosquito had bitten Carnarvon on the face. No one thought anything of it. But within a few days, his health had deteriorated. The bite had become infected. Carnarvon returned to Cairo. By now, he had a raging temperature and was suffering from blood poisoning. In the early evening of April 5th, 1923, Lord Carnarvon staggered back to his hotel. 7 hours later, he was dead. But the strange happenings didn't stop there. The moment Carnarvon died, all the lights went out in Cairo. And simultaneously, back in England, Carnarvon's pet terrier howled and dropped dead. Two years later, when Howard Carter finally examined Tutankhamun's mummy, he found a scar on its cheek in exactly the same place as Lord Carnarvon's mosquito bite. As the alleged curse had predicted, death had indeed come on wings. The apparent curse of Tutankhamun seemed to have been at work. And Lord Carnarvon was not the only person to meet an untimely end. 22 people directly related to the dig died prematurely. Could they all have been victims of the curse, or was it mere coincidence? Arthur Mace, a leading member of the expedition, was in a coma after working on the treasures, and within days, he died of pneumonia. A radiologist who led the autopsy of the mummy collapsed from exhaustion and died of an unknown cause. Carter's colleague, Arthur Callender, had taken part in opening the grave. He died of pneumonia. As did American businessman George J. Gould. He was stricken by a high fever 24 hours after entering the tomb. That evening, he was dead. Back in England, the list continued. Lord Carnarvon's wife, Countess Elmina, also died from an insect bite. And his half-brother, Aubrey Herbert, died from blood poisoning. Richard Bethel was Lord Carnarvon's secretary. He passed away mysteriously at his London club. Then Bethel's father, Lord Westbury, wrote a suicide note blaming the curse and jumped from the roof of his London home to his death.